According with the idea of Romance, in particular the idea of the Roman Empire, the ancient Romans, in particular in their relationship with war, try to develop a specific type of imposition in relation with the idea of inclusivism. This is really important because if we have to understand this type of connection, we have also to consider the idea that in the ancient period of Rome, the idea of war, it was, according to the Romans, a specific type of englobation of the other cultures. In fact, we have also to consider that the Romans, when developed a specific type of conquests, in particular, we know that they develop, in this sense, a specific type of an empire that it was between Europe, North Africa, and a part of Asia. We understand that the Romans had to consider and had to fight with a lot of people, a lot of barbarians with different type of political structures, but at the same time also with a different type of military organization. In any case, Rome decided to improve its type of development in relation with military idea, in relation with the idea in the sense of law, not as natural law, but as a specific type of law as a military thinking point of view. Therefore, the Romans, the ancient Romans, decided to develop a specific type of military thinking in relation with the idea, for example, to the battles vis-a-vis. In this sense, in fact, the legionaries, on the one hand, developed their ideas, in particular Rome, the Urbe Romana developed the idea that it was structured in relation with the professionist soldiers. In this sense, we know that there is a specific type of connection with Plato, for example. In fact, Plato in his Republic theorized a specific type of hoplite, in this sense, a man who is military, who has a sword, a shield, etc. In this sense, according to Plato, the military had to be a professional soldier, and in ancient Greek society, with the exception of Sparta, the military soldier, the citizens were the military, but the soldiers weren't professional, did not that work as professional. In fact, they did also other things, and when there were some wars, they became to defend the territory. In ancient Rome, instead, with time, in particular, with the Republic, we understand, with the birth of the Republic, we understand that the Romans decided to develop a specific type of connection with the idea not only with the aristocrats, but a global idea of professional soldiers. Therefore, not only the aristocrats, not only the noblemen could begin to become soldiers, to become soldiers. This is really interesting. And on the other hand, therefore, Rome, when conquered different type of places, developed, in this sense, the idea of the role of the law in vis-a-vis. Therefore, we have, according to the Roman soldiers, the Roman legionaries, we have to conquer other things, other territories, but in this sense, the main idea of battle, it was that battle, on the one hand, in relation with a specific type of organization. In fact, the good legionary, it was that legionary who fought with together in relation with others in a specific type of team with specific type of rules. On the other hand, the Romans try to fight against the barbarians in an open land. This is really important, and in a frontal battles. Therefore, what were the main answers in relation with battles when Romans arrived in of the barbarians? What was the main answer of the barbarians when the Romans arrived in their territories, in their lands? In this sense, the barbarians, with time, understood that Rome, the idea of Rome, it was to fight against the barbarians in an open land vis-a-vis, because in this sense Rome had a specific type of advantages, and preferred Rome to fight in this sense. Therefore, the barbarians that understood that Rome it was much better to fight fought much better in the open land, decided to fight against Rome in other with other ways. For example, attacked the Romans using the idea of territories that the barbarians knew better. In particular, when Romans arrived in a new territories for the first time, but in particular also during the night. Therefore, the barbarians preferred, in particular, the barbarians of the north, to attack the Romans during the night, not vis-a-vis, not in an open land, but also with a specific type of improvisation. Therefore, they improvise, they attack, in particular in that lands that Romans did not know. On the other hand, also during the night, because in the night the barbarians knew their territories, but Romans did not. Therefore, the barbarians also in the night could understand how they can go. Therefore, the Romans, how Romans resolve this type of issue, in particular with a specific type of structure of cities. In fact, the main, the main force, the the main uh, um, the main development in the sense of ancient Romans, it was not so much in the war, also, yeah, also in the war, but in particular in relation with the idea that arrived to think of a war. Therefore, the Romans that before the war they leaved some territories, but at the same time, when they leave some territories, they had already built something in that territories that therefore created the connection between different type of territories, different type of lands, and in this sense, the barbarians that knew their territories with after the arriving of the Roman Empire, of the Romans, they found their territory differently because Rome, with time, after that, the Romans arrived in a territory, they tried to change the territory, in particular also on the one hand, and in a first time with camp. And in a second time, these camps that Rome built became the cities. Therefore, also the barbarians, with time, in particular when the legionaries arrived in new territories and became to build new camps, development, also new cities, implemented the law and the idea of military idea in that cities, in that camps, in this sense influenced also in the life of the barbarians, indirectly and directly, and also in the economic idea of the barbarians. Therefore, the main idea of Rome to win against the barbarians and to conquer the lands of the barbarians, it was the idea of inclusivism in relation with we influence the barbarians with the idea that we change the economical situation when we arrive in a new territory. We change the geography of a new territory with with new buildings because we built new cities, because we built new camps, and trying to limit the economic situation of the barbarians, the connection between barbarians, and in the end, the barbarians, yeah, there were a lot of wars, but in the end, the barbarians, in a lot of cases, arrived to think that the relationship between supply and cost as economical idea, in the end, it wasn't so good in relation with the idea that the Romans had built a lot of cities and limited their communications. Therefore, the barbarians, in the end, considered that the cost to fight against Rome, in the end, it was much more important than the supply. Therefore, they decided in the end, in a lot of cases, uh, to enter to 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 maintain don't to maintain not to maintain their independence, but to enter in the Roman idea of empire. This is really interesting because with this idea, we understand how Rome succeeded to conquer a lot of lands, and it was really different, for example, for the ancient Greeks society, because the ancient Greek society, it wasn't so in relation with the professional idea of soldier. Only Plato arrived to criticize this idea in the classical world of ancient Greek society, but also the Greek city-states didn't develop a specific type of empire. Instead, Rome succeeded to build an empire, but on the other hand, to building for build to build this empire, learned also to take the costumes of the other, but at the same time influencing that costume to Romanize the other people. And in the end, building cities, building camps, buildings, introducing their laws in these camps, in this building, in these cities that the legionaries in first time built with the idea of camp. In fact, the legionaries had the mentality of an engineering mentality. Rome succeeded in the end. Uh, in other words, Rome had a new type of idea of imperialism that in the ancient Greek city-states, or also in another case, in the Hellenistic idea of Alexander the Great, didn't it wasn't. Uh, this is really interesting because the idea of the Roman Empire, it was try to rethink about the other culture, in particular Greek culture and the Hellenistic culture in general, that it was produced by Greeks, to introduce these cultures, military thinking in relation with their military idea in the empire. This is really, really interesting. Bye.